everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do another section about Greek myths and legends and just to discuss how I feel about them, thoughts that I have, connections with them, just a general discussion and a reading about some of our favorite myths or topics. And today is Greek mythology. Here's a good one. Fate and Three Heroes is the topic in this book that I have. And so just that alone, Fate and Three Heroes. So it's like, when they say things come in three, like the deaths or good things, they tend to come in three. That's weird. But that's generally what is superstition or old wives' tales, that three combinations of three are important. So the ancient Greeks believed in fate, which meant that they thought their lives were predetermined by the gods. Even heroes were subjects of fate and had to suffer if they displeased the gods. So it wasn't necessarily that things were predetermined by fate the moment you were born, although that could be true, right? Like you could be born in the situation you're born into. The gods have predetermined something regarding, hey, what is that? What is it picking up? Have predetermined something about you based on your birth or something related to your birth, either who your parents were, when you were born, the situation you were born into, your status, in the society you're born into, could play a big role in how the fates, well, they have the fates in Greek mythology, right? That they decide when the life begins and ends. They're in charge of basically recording, right? They're the lives of humans. But this is even saying that gods themselves can change the fate of a human. So it's predetermined, but not necessarily. So Bellerophon was the grandson of Sisyphus, who, I know how to say that name, Sisyphus, so it makes me feel like I should know who that is, but I don't. So I probably should look into that. He was wrongly accused of trying to seduce the wife of King Proteus of Argos. Angrily, Proteus sent Bellerophon from his court with a letter to deliver to the king of Lycia. I do remember this. The letter asked the king of Lycia to kill the person who brought it, but he did not want to offend the Furies by murdering a guest. So in in Greece society in general, not necessarily in mythology, but I know the Greeks in particular had really strict hospitality rules. You were not messing with the guests. You were going to be on your utmost behavior. You were feeding them, you were giving them water, you were making them the most comfortable for your guests as possible, no matter who they were. If you welcomed them into your house, and you couldn't necessarily say no. And I don't think this was just a Greek thing. I know that in the Bible it references some, society norms related to hospitality in some of their, stories or books in the Bible. There is some sort of hospitality expectation in most societies of this time. So he didn't want to upset the Furies by murdering a guest. Instead, he asked Bellerophon to kill the beast called the Chimera to pay for his hospitality. The Chimera was a fire-breathing monster with the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and a serpent's tail. The king was sure Bellerophon would fail and be killed. Now, the Chimera, I believe, has different renditions of what it's supposed to look like. So I think sometimes is different. But what I do know, so I think the goat's on the back, the body of a goat. But I thought there was a Chimera description where the goat head was on the back of the body. So do that what you will. Athene decided to help Bellerophon. She lent him her winged horse Pegasus and he flew over the chimera and plunged his spear down its throat. Bellerophon then helped the king by flying above his enemies and pelting them with rocks. The king could not believe the hero deserved to die after this, and they became friends. Bellerophon even married his daughter. So I don't know all the nuances of all of being requested by a king and if there were consequences for not following out the wishes of a king. Because right, it was the king, yeah, Proteus sent him to the king of Lycia. Does it say who the king's name was? I think it just says the king of Lycia. So it doesn't even say in here who exactly the king was. So, but I know that like I know I'm supposed to know who that is, but I don't. And maybe just where it is pretty early on in the book that I'm reading. So maybe it just hasn't been explained yet, and we're supposed to connect the dots later because there is so much information, so many characters, so many people related to each other that it can be an information dump. So it's not going to be completely detailed with everything all of the time because it's just too much sometimes. I know Athene is like the Roman name because Athena is the Greek name. And this is a Greek related book. So I think that's the Roman name. So I wonder if that's just wrong in here or if I'm misunderstanding the nuances of that name. But Fate and Three Heroes. So that's the first hero. The next heroes that they talk about are Orion and Oedipus. So I think today I'm just going to do Bellerophon, and then I'll post 2 more videos, one about Orion and one about Oedipus. So watch out for those coming out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Remember, have fun, be safe, and I will see you soon.